Hi, I'm Paul Schaefer,
I'm Will Lee.
and you are watching the Letterman Podcast.
Welcome once again to the Letterman Podcast. My name is Mike Chisholm. Okay, so I've talked about this in the past. Those of you who have listened to or watched the show know that I love talking to the interns. The interns have such a really amazing perspective of their time, either at late night or late show. In this case here, Andrea Engelsberg, she was an intern for Late Show in the 1994, 1995 range. And we talk about some of the memories that she had while she was there. It's very cool that I have connected with some of these people that I hadn't previously connected with because of what's going on with CBS right now, because of what's happened with CBS's recent announcement of the cancellation of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which has sent shockwaves into the lives of people like me and the people who tolerate this show, because this is an institution, and Andrea is really cool in how she articulates that. Those of us born in the 70s, late night television, for many of us, it is something that has just always been there, and we kind of depend on it. And she does such a good job talking about where she is from her perspective, and she talks a little bit about her background, how she got to New York. We have candy together. Look at there's a ring pop. Remember the ring pop from back in the day? As she and I have gotten to know each other, we bonded over many things, candy included. I got myself a Screamer. Do you have a Screamers down the States? I don't know. It's a Slurpee and ice cream from the local Circle K. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K, if you know what I'm talking about. You understand what I'm talking about, this thing with late night. And so Andrea was an intern for the writers. She's got some pretty cool vantage points of some neat things that have happened in history. We talk about the soup Nazi. You got to listen to her tell the soup Nazi story. Very, very cool. And some other tales that she has from when she worked at the Ed Sullivan Theater. I'm really excited to have Andrea Engelsberg as our guest on this week's episode of the Letterman Podcast. Please enjoy. Okay, Andrea, I'm very, very excited to be talking to you. I love talking to the interns. The interns everybody who worked for the show had such a unique perspective, but the interns in particular was a very, very special vantage point of everything that was going on around them. But before we get to that, you're a dually. You're a Canadian like are you half Canadian
Yeah,
like I am?
I am. Yeah, I
How
am.
did that come about?
A woot. My mom is French Canadian from Montreal,
Mhm.
and my father is American from New York, and they met in Kentucky. My father in med school, and my mother studying chemistry and immunology.
Yep.
And they met there and got married. My mom went to McGill for undergrad, and my dad
Wow.
went to City College. He's from Queens.
Yep.
So New Yorkers and Montrealers
My brother lives
meeting.
in Montreal and he goes down to New York all the day. Like it's a very, they take the train. They enjoy
Yeah.
heading down there and doing that. McGill, for my American brothers and sisters, McGill is one of the most esteemed universities in Canada, and very, very cool. That's excellent. Now before I want to let everybody in on this a little bit. You and I have really had fun kind of getting to know each other a little bit. We're close when it comes to age and that kind of thing. And we said, well, if we're gonna do this, we got to do candy. We were talking about candy, and we were talking about using the candy for maybe from our youth or favorite candy, and we're gonna have some candy here. So okay. I know I'm supposed to only bring three, but I brought four
Oh
candy
God.
from my youth, and I haven't decided which ones are my top three, and I need some help here. So, what candy did you bring for this excursion today?
Well, I have a tendency to go a little extra.
Uh-huh.
So I have quite a few, but I've got several options of how to present them.
Okay.
But I do have the one of my most favorite candies,
Okay.
which I have in this bag right here.
Jelly beans?
No. Oh,
Oh,
you want to guess what they are?
no, I'm looking to see what is that? What is that? It's a mixture of all sorts of.
Yeah.
You got the sour. You got the gummy. What are those gummy?
Well, okay, so it's four things. It's
Four
not just
things.
jelly
Okay, what do you
beans,
got?
and they're my favorite. And they're not exactly right, but I went to this place at the mall by where I'm staying called Fizzy Wigs. which just happens to
Oh,
be
yes.
like I'd never been in one before a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago, and now I've been there 3 times. So, but but yeah, these are my 4 favorite candies, but not necessarily for my youth.
Okay. So what do we got in there? What do we got?
We've got in here these. Oh, where's the?
Is
Wait,
it the
wait,
classic gummy bear? A
wait,
little
wait.
bit to your left,
Where's
to your
the?
right, to your left. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, there
there
we
it is.
go.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Yeah, sorry about my nails.
The
Who got
classic
first?
gummy bears.
But these are the pineapple ones.
Oh, pineapple. Okay, there we
Mm.
go. There we go. Yep.
Yep. And to make those a little extra,
Uh-huh.
these
What are
are the
those?
same
It's a chocolate covered gummy bear.
and pineapple gummy bears covered in chocolate.
Yeah. Well, this is
Hmm.
why people around the world hate us right there for having that. I mean, that is decadence turned into delectable finger-sized treat right there. Uh-huh. A chocolate covered gummy bear. Okay, what else?
So I'm gonna have to say these are my number one.
Those are chocolate covered gummy bears? Yeah. They weren't around when we were kids. When you get the 5-cent candies, there weren't chocolate covered ones.
Here's an aside.
Uh-huh.
So there, my mother and
Uh-huh.
my stepfather owned a store in Pasadena, California.
Yep.
My stepfather, Wayne Moody, was city planner of Laguna Beach and then Tucson, Arizona,
Wow.
and then part of the Arroyo Group, which was responsible for revitalizing Old Town Pasadena.
No kidding. Shout out to
So
Wayne.
shout out Wayne. Wayne has passed, but there is a street named after him in Tucson, Arizona,
Oh, that's so cool.
in a planned community that's all based on solar energy called Savano.
No kidding.
Yeah, pretty rad.
No
Pretty rad. Like
kidding.
it's,
That is
yeah.
rad.
But the shop was called Sweet Desires,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a section that was all candy called Andy's Candies.
Oh, you had a section in a store named after you. We didn't talk about that. Oh my God.
And then these I found out about then.
They're fantastic.
Hmm.
Okay, and
So
what rounds out
those.
the bag? What are the other two things in the bag?
Okay. Well, these are not my favorite, but I'm
Okay.
sort of having like a red licorice crisis
Mm-hmm.
because like um and it's sort of similar with my gummy bear crisis because Harborough all the way until lately, but now the Albanese's are like, where did those come from? And I got some sour Albanese's over there that are like out of this world. But I've always been a red vines person
Uh-huh. Oh, really?
because Twizzlers too
Yes.
waxy.
Okay.
These are the Australian ones, and I've
Oh,
not tried them.
yes. So much better. The soft and I can yeah, the Australian licorice is they're where it's at right now for me as well. I
Yeah.
get that. I get that.
Well, this is a first. I've tried the green apple.
Yeah. What do you think? Are you
Mm,
there?
mm,
Not there.
no, no, I think it's too thick.
Oh, gotcha. Well,
It tastes good though.
everybody hates that problem. I've heard Mr. Pibb and red vines equals crazy delicious. That's what I've heard.
Wait. You've heard Mr. Pibb and red vines.
Equals crazy
Crazy
delicious.
delicious.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And
Put
then
that
what
in there.
and what's the fourth one? We've got a multicolored spherical.
Yeah, this is just the basic. This is, and I chose 2 green
Oh, of
on
course you did.
acid. But yeah, these are the peanut M&Ms.
Yep.
Yeah,
Classic.
but you have to eat these in a very specific way.
Yes. Gen X knows this more than yes, that is absolutely true.
What is your opinion on that?
Well, the green, of course, is the holy grail. And that's for do you remember
But how do you
do
eat?
you remember the baseball commercial? The kids playing baseball? I hit singles when I hit the brown ones, doubles with the orange, or no, doubles with the yellow, orange triples. But the green ones, I hit a grand slam. That's how the commercial went back in the day.
No, it did not.
Yeah, that was it. I think I did it verbatim. The old, yeah.
That's
So anyways.
hilarious. I don't remember that, but I wasn't referring to the horniness
No, I
of the
believe you were
color.
referring to the aphrodisiac qualities. Was
No,
that it?
no,
No?
no, no.
Okay.
It would be, yeah, I could take this one and it would still need to be eaten in a very specific way
Oh,
because I have a specific way that you have to eat peanut M&Ms.
do tell.
So you have to like you can't just munch it and like chew it up.
Right.
You have to like make it like you have to
Reveal the
make it
peanut.
soft. Yes, you have
Uh-huh.
to reveal the peanut
Yes.
slowly.
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go.
However, but as I just punched it and did exactly what I said, but time is up that. So yeah, you don't. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's
Tell me.
let's compare some American and Canadian candies. I believe I picked ones that are universal across the border. I do believe I picked that. Number one, I went with the Nerds. I went with the classic, right? And grape was always my favorite, so I did the strawberry
Mhm.
grape flavor. That's what I did for my number one. Number two, and again, number two. Okay, so number two. This is probably my favorite candy of all time. I'm a huge Skittles
Ah,
fan. Love the
you
Skittles.
enjoy, yeah, tasting the rainbow.
Right. Yes. Very, very much so. However, there was controversy. I don't know if it was cross-border controversy or not, but a few years ago, see, these are the way that they're supposed to be. If you look at the legend of colors on the Skittles, they're the way they're supposed to be. A few years ago, the green, when I grew up, green was always lime. A few years
Yes.
ago, though, and I don't know if it was just in Canada, I don't know if it was just a test. I don't know if the Skittles candy company was trying to put one over on us. They changed the green to green apple. And I was not happy with that. But now these ones here, but I've been able to find. So sometimes you can find Skittles where the green is green apple. I don't know if it's conspiracy or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Also,
look into that. I'm
yeah,
gonna do
we
some
somebody needs to. I don't know if it's
cross-border
us.
exploration. I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute.
Starburst. I mean, I don't know how you
Oh,
don't.
the classic.
But this is number
Strawberry.
four because what I wanted to do while we did this today, Andrea, because I'm so excited to be doing this with you, is I thought that I should be wearing a ring pop. I'm going to be wearing a ring pop while we do this today because it just felt right in how we've led up to you appearing on the Letterman podcast today. I got a grape one, which is my favorite. Oh no, it's a blue one. I got a blue one. So
Oh man, this
today
is
I'll be
gonna be
wearing
fun.
the very beautiful blue raspberry
It is very
ring pop.
pretty.
So I'll be wearing that today.
Yeah, I
And
suppose it's a sapphire.
it must be. It must
Yeah.
be a blue raspberry sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely delicious, just like I
Ah,
remember. But yeah, so you know what? I'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about your shirt for a second
oh,
because you got one of the OG Hello Deli shirts, and then you have Andrea-ized it. It's so cool. It's fantastic. Rupert's gonna be delighted when he sees that. He's by the way, the one and only sponsor of the Letterman podcast is Rupert G and the Hello Deli. He may not have the deli anymore, but he still has
he still's
hello-deli.com.
got the Rupert part.
Yep. You can't get that shirt anymore, but boy, you can get other shirts and other things, mugs and all sorts of fun stuff at hello-deli.com. Curated by our own, the legendary Rupert G. Do you have any stories? When you were interning at the Ed Sullivan Theater, do you have any stories about the Hello Deli, about Rupert? Did you go there?
Oh,
Did you eat?
we did, well, we ate there, but a big part of our job, well, my job as the writer's intern was getting food for them after the show.
Hmm.
So, like, they ate there and the food was provided. So, that was our job to go get their orders. We would go and I was a waitress before, a cocktail waitress, so it was like kind of familiar, you go and to each buddy's off in every person's office, take their order, go get their food, bring it back, like give it to them.
Hmm.
So it was sort of at the end of the day, they usually like met in the writer's room and had all their food. But yeah, we would go all the time and get food for ourselves or food for the writers or and it was good. So and convenient. So we loved it.
They made great food there. Rupert, it's so funny.
Make your
Sometimes
sandwiches like the size of your head.
my wife and Rupert are both foodies, and so sometimes when my wife and Rupert get together, they'll start talking about food, and then they go off almost into another universe. Very like everything, every menu item there was absolutely meticulously designed. Rupert loves this stuff. He just loves it,
Yeah.
and
Like 37 items on whatever sandwich. And you know what I love the best out of the sandwiches was I love that shaved lettuce. You can't get that just everywhere. They don't
hmm.
give you that just everywhere. It's so good.
I think you need a permit to shave lettuce now. I'm
I
not
think
certain,
you
but
do. Yeah. Barber's permit probably.
Huh.
Probably like, yeah, you could get hurt doing that. You need, like OSHA protection.
And when you were an intern there, it was during the crazy times because it was during the time where it was still so new. It was so a part of the news cycle, not just the
Yeah,
entertainment news cycle, but the news cycle of Dave having recently moved over to CBS. It was literally like the stationary circus was in town, and there was a lot of activity going on around that theater all the time. And Rupert, of course, was one of the epicenters of that activity, and stayed that way right up to the end of the show. People who they would come from thousands and thousands of miles.
hmm
Some of them would have the opportunity to see the show. Many didn't, and so
yeah,
the second
yeah,
best thing was going to the Hello Deli, and that's what they would do.
yeah. And he was always. I mean, I never saw him lose his cool a single time. Always big smile. I mean, like, probably didn't, expect that. I'm sure super grateful for it and
Yep.
handled it like especially when we were there. One of the, I don't know if it was a prerequisite, but they had us read late night and like read the book of how like the transition and what happened, and so we were all pretty cued in, and the whole world was pretty electric around there, and there was always people outside the green room door, and always, it wasn't quite um, the crazy paparazzi that had got to maybe some years later. I
Yep.
think it got maybe a little crazier. But there was always a ton of people there. And I do have my lanyard thing. I found it.
Oh, you still have your ID? Oh my gosh.
So it expired 12/31/95, unfortunately. Uh, but yeah,
There we go.
I
Yeah, yeah,
found
yeah.
it.
It's there. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic that you still have that. It's did you got a jacket too, right?
I did. Yeah, I got a jacket, and since I'm in the middle of moving,
Yeah.
it's packed up right now. And I do have we all got like I got one sweatshirt
Hmm.
left. I had a t-shirt, but it died.
As they do. As they
R.I.P.
do.
Yeah.
How did you get the gig? How did you like? How in the world? Where were you? And how did it happen that you would be so fortuitous to be chosen to go into the Late Show with David Letterman internship program?
I need to find what I sent in because my education kind of went like this.
Hmm.
My grandfather was the president of the Canadian Fashion Design Association or whatever it is called. I'm
Wow.
not, yeah, which the CFDA, I think, um, for 7 years. He had a 7 year run. And so I grew up wanting to be a fashion designer
Hmm.
and went to school for fashion design. And I was there 2 years before I decided I don't really like making patterns. Like there wasn't such a thing as like styling and things like that back then.
Yep.
Um, but the actual work of it was pretty tedious. And I was not a great kid in school. I was one of those kids that got straight A's, but also would not get along with the teachers and have a lot of detention. So like I definitely had a little bit of class clown. I like
Yeah, I
entered,
was gonna say smart mouth, but it's smart mouth.
very much a smart mouth.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so I did learn that I could get away with stuff because I had a sharp wit and people responded to it, and I'm a good writer. So I left. I went to Otis Parsons. At the time, it was a part of Parsons School of Design, and went back to the University of Arizona where to figure it out.
Hmm.
Um, and then I ended up graduating there with a triple major in theater arts, fine arts, and media arts because I had so many already. So I ended up really doing a lot of video production, art production, and costume design.
Oh wow.
So
What
those
kind of
were sort of
costume?
the
How did you do the costume design? Where did you apply that?
well, I did in the theater department there. I was the assistant designer for Nine, which is Fellini's Eight and a Half. So which was kind of a funny gig because literally nobody wears any clothes
Yep.
in the whole thing. Yeah, so it's like a lot of black lingerie that we, so that was um, wasn't a super difficult, design task, but I was the assistant designer on that. And then, the senior designer was in grad school. So she was, and then I did the set design for Touring Shakespeare, the production of Touring Shakespeare
Oh,
for
wow.
U of A. So it wasn't a traditional design. So I assistant designed on that, where it was basically a lot of production, where um, it was a lot of cubes that they had that would unfold and like, so that was they would take it to high schools and, teach them about Shakespeare. And so it had to be something that they could move very easily and
Yeah.
sort of, so my
Very
involvement with
functional.
that, yeah, my involvement with that was more production.
Hmm.
Um, and then I did a lot of media production, and it was back when Avid was the editing tool. There
Yeah.
weren't computers. We were doing actual tape and reel to reel and stuff like
Yep.
that. So I had that experience as well, and I was always a late night fan. Like always. I grew up on Johnny Carson, being a
Yeah.
latchkey kid. I think a lot of kids from the '70s who didn't have a lot of parental supervision watched a lot of late night television, and I
Hmm.
certainly did, and it carried through. As an SNL fan since birth,
Yep.
and I don't, only recently have I started actually missing episodes. But I think my entire life I rarely missed an episode, except for my partying years and all of that.
Sure.
But yeah, there was, and for the last year, that's how I'm getting my news,
Yeah.
more or
Well,
less,
oh, yeah. Like
Yeah.
growing up, a lot of people, Dennis Miller was my weekend update guy. And I
Hmm.
mean, I learned far more. I knew who Dick Cheney was long ago as a little kid because Dennis Miller would use him for target practice on Weekend
Yeah.
Update. John
Yeah.
Sununu or some of these other, Kevin
Right.
Nealon
Yeah.
mentioned
Right.
him. Boutros Ghali. The only reason why I knew
Right.
Boutros Ghali was because of Weekend Update. I know exactly what you're talking about. As a kid,
Yeah.
I wasn't up on current events, social studies teacher. I just watched SNL every weekend. Like that's really
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah. A lot of that. And I watched a lot of late night television. And I think, when I moved to Los Angeles, and I stayed up late at night, and I watched a lot of Arsenio Hall for a
Yeah.
while.
Oh, I loved
I was
Arsenio.
like, yeah, I just loved that super exciting vibe that he had with Super News. So I would like religiously watch that. I guess it was probably my sophomore year because I'd moved out of the dorm and like I had my own place in Los Angeles and was feeling
Mhm.
very grown up at 19 years old.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fun. That's cool that you got that in the memory banks there. That's really, really cool that you have that memory.
Yeah, it was exciting time for sure. And then moved back to Tucson and finished up because my mom, after being a chemist and an immunologist, became an architect,
Mhm.
um, and as people do, and and she was the assistant dean of architecture until she retired at U of A. So we got free tuition there. So ended up graduating from there.
That
And
is so cool.
yeah,
Now,
when
what year
I
were
just
you in when you
applied.
got the internship?
So I guess it must have been 94, 95. Is that right?
So,
Yeah.
like, I meant in university. Like, were you a senior when
Oh,
you got it? Were you,
it was
or was it after? Were you one of the
it was
lucky ones
right
that did it when you
after.
were after?
It
Oh,
was
isn't that
right
cool?
after.
So
And
you
I was a
finish,
little
you
bit
get your
older.
degree, and you go to New York to
Yeah,
be an
it was
intern, and that's how you're celebrating. I finished university.
100%
Oh
exactly how
my
it happened.
God.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky. And, honestly, I did because my parents were able to help me with that because there's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to do that because
Totally.
it's a free internship and living in New York City is very expensive. So
This is
yeah,
one of
I
the
was,
stories that I asked people. Like we did 2 summers ago. It was the summer the summer of intern. We had 6 or 7 interns come on, and one of my questions was always, how were you able to bankroll it? How did it work? Were you one of these people living in a place with 11 other people? How did you make that work? What was your living situation? So you're a West Coast girl, and then suddenly, you graduate and you're in New York. Was New York one of those? Had you spent much time there before you got this internship? Was this one of those things where did New York ever call out to you? Was it one of those?
yeah.
Yeah,
My family on my dad's side, New Yorkers through and
right.
through.
Because your dad.
Yeah.
That's right. Of course, your
My
dad
dad,
did
yeah,
City
my
College.
dad
Right.
grew up in Bayside, Queens. Yeah,
Right.
so like his whole side of the family, and I still have relatives in Bayside that actually still live in the house next door. My second cousins, they still live in the house they grew up in Bayside. So which was shared a yard with the house that my dad and my aunt Carol grew up in. So like
Yep.
they are New Yorkers through and through. My second cousin Eddie was a New York postman in Manhattan his entire life.
Oh,
So yeah.
fantastic.
So
So you knew New York.
some, my dad would take me back my whole life. We would visit them until, of course, like all New Yorkers, my grandparents moved to Florida, and but we would still go and on the other side of the family, other side of the family, like my cousin's father. So I guess my uncle's side of the family still
Hmm.
lives in New York as well. So we would see them, and then my stepmother's family is also East Coast, so they're in DC.
Okay.
So we would go back and forth a lot.
Do you remember when you found out that you got the internship? Do you remember where you were and how
Yeah.
that? Yeah. How did you find out? Was it a call? Was it a
No, it was a
letter?
letter. It was a
Yeah.
letter. Yeah, it was a letter. Um, and I'd sent out, quite a few, and I had to write an essay, and I wish I could find it. I know I have it somewhere because
Oh
I'm,
man, yeah. When you
and
find
then
it, please send it.
yeah, and then we had to come interview.
Yep.
So we would come, and we came out, and it was August or something when we interviewed, and I remember I was wearing like a pink satin shirt, and by the time I got from our hotel in like I don't even know how far south it was, but like, Times Square-ish, and
Yep.
then up to Ed Sullivan
83rd.
Theater,
Yep.
I was sweat through.
57, 53rd Street.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing about New
totally
York
sweat
heat,
through.
right? It's that sticky heat, that humid heat.
Yeah, so I
Yep.
was like trying to be all professional, and I think I was like wearing like a suit. And by the time I got there, I'm like, it's over. I messed this up already. I'm like the sweaty girl. They're like, but it went really well, and they had us in, and we just chatted with different groups,
You
and
did the different departments because yeah, a lot of the interns have talked about that where they'll go to the
yeah,
different departments that are there,
hmm
and then those people, if there's a connection or whatever, they might request people,
yeah,
and sometimes you'd even get a couple different departments requesting you. Did you go right to
yeah.
the writers or did you go somewhere else first?
No, I went right to the writers. I
Man.
did. And then I had another opportunity after I left. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take for financial reasons. They offered me another internship in costume design,
For
which
Sue. Well, it makes so much
yeah,
sense. Yeah. That you could have gone to
yeah.
Sue's department.
And I did get to, I did get to help. I did a lot of wrangling. I did get to help with the Halloween episode. So, yeah, that was pretty amazing. And thinking about that, and just, I didn't get to help in billing the costumes. I just babysat the kids while they would come in and out, like basically they had their own green room with like tumbling blocks in there. And it was like basically like an underground kindergarten, and they would come
Yeah.
and get them in pairs or whatever.
Oh,
And they
that
were
is
like,
really,
and
really
making
neat.
sure they didn't mess up their costumes before they got on.
Yeah,
And
of course, of course. All
yeah,
which is that's charming and magical and fantastic, and it does have to do with, what you went to school for. But that being said, like I mean, I look at when I look back at all of the options that people had, where they could have gone research or segment producing, whatever. The writer's room is where that's where I would have wanted to
oh
be.
my
And you
gosh.
were there at a time where there were savages working, like just they were the best of the best, like such good, now at this point,
It's
iconic Letterman writers that were
wild
there.
to see where they've gone on to,
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, I'm like, what? I know that person? Like, That's wild. Like, and they were all so young too, most of, not all of them, but like and I was an older intern because I took, my time. So
And
I
you were
was
after the senior. There were some people who were there earlier in their university career in between years, right? So yeah, you were an older
right.
one
I
because you
was
had
an
finished
older
already. Yeah,
intern
yeah,
because I
yeah.
finished. So there were writers there that were only like that were my age or
Yeah.
like right around my age, which was kind of a strange dynamic as well. But yeah, so it was really was it and you got to spend time with like each person separately, the way it was set up. So I really got an opportunity to know everyone, on separately.
Did you have
It
any
was a
favorites? Did you have anybody that you kind of connected with and they were kind of one of your favorite writers or
Oh
favorite people that you
gosh, I
worked with?
mean, so many in different ways,
Yeah.
like, um, yeah, so many in different ways. And there was Rodney Rothman was brand new when I started, brand
Hmm.
new. So I think, like a little freaked out because he was brand new, and we connected because we were like this is crazy, kind of thing, and he was just a sweetheart, and like we connected, and John Beckerman and I, like, he was a music guy and I'm a music person.
Yep.
So he and I talked music a lot, and he would
Yep.
recommend music, and he would have like DVDs or CDs or whatever we had back then.
Yep. Yep.
I guess it was probably CDs because I remember
CDs for
Tony.
sure. Yep.
Yeah. I still have my garbage CD that I got from Tony, the cue card guy, when we did like an AIDS benefit that we did and I volunteered for, and they donated a bunch of stuff, and like they had like it's an outdoor yard sale that he was involved with the theater community somehow, and I volunteered to help him. And
God
he was
bless
like,
Tony Mendez. That's
oh my,
beautiful.
he and I got along really well. He and I got along like, yeah, he was a great guy. I have a place in my heart for him. He brought light. Yeah, for
And
sure.
working on a project to raise money for AIDS, research and prevention and curation and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful thing, right? That's a heartfelt kind of thing right there.
yeah,
Knowing it
he
was with
was
Tony
a
and his
true
past and all that. Yeah, like
true,
that's
genuine person. But when we were doing that, he slipped me the garbage CD. That
yep.
was the one with the pink feathers, and I never heard of them before, which came like one of my all-time favorites.
I
And
have
I did
pictures with me
not
and
hear it.
Shirley together. I
Uh,
love garbage there.
Me too.
Yeah.
So it was also a very exciting time to be around so much live music of people that are like my heroes.
Yep. I'm a big
That was
music guy
very
too.
cool.
Isn't Beckerman just amazing? He's such a phenomenal, phenomenal guy as well.
Yeah, he was super low key. He was a little like held back, like a little bit, but he and I really connected about music, and he was always very genuine and kind, and yeah, he was always very nice. But again, we were not that different in age.
Yeah.
So it was weird lines that it was like, okay, you're an intern, like you have to do what I say. I'm your boss, kind of thing. Um, yeah, Steve O'Donnell was amazing. Like
One of my favorite
so
humans walking the planet. And when I talk to him, um, I feel sub intelligent, but I feel no shame in it because yes, he is leagues ahead intellect wise, but he's also so kind that it doesn't matter that I am not even I'm exponentially less intelligent than he is. Isn't
I
Steve a
know,
wonderful,
bright,
wonderful man?
shining light. Oh my goodness! Like just being in his presence makes you feel better. Like he just brings
Yep.
the world up, and he was so kind to me. Like he and Steve Young, like what, but Steve, like, and Gerard, they were all just so nice. Even like the Bill Shept was a little standoffish. He did like his own thing, whatever. He was just. I mean, he had his job. I think was different than everybody else's.
Monologue, right? He was
Yeah.
more focusing on the
So he
monologue at
wasn't
that time. Yeah.
involved in everything. But everyone was so nice. Trying to
Now,
think who else.
no, oh no, I was just going to say, okay,
Yeah,
you talk about this time and place. I think it's probably a good time to talk about the idea that, you got Spike Ferrison and you got Steve O'Donnell, both who went on after or even during, perhaps. I think it was both after to write Seinfeld episodes, of course.
right.
One very, very,
Spike was
very
not
famous
there.
one.
Yeah.
There was a very famous Seinfeld episode where the genesis of it was from the Letterman writers room, and it's everyday life stuff that get turned into a story. And I just want to throw that at you, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, this is a funny story because it was we would get lunch every day and it was part of our job. Like I was saying, you go to each room. Like we had duties. It was very scheduled. You would pass out, the top 10 list first thing and at this time, and then you would collect it at this time, take lunch order at this time. Um, and when the soup kitchen opened up. Everyone's like, soup Nazi's open. And we're like, yay, soup Nazi's open. Like, we're gonna order soup Nazi today. And like, I'm like, awesome.
And
And
y'all
like,
called him the soup Nazi at that point. Like that's how he was known.
I looked in the phone book for the soup Nazi. I like computers weren't a thing. I'm like, there is no soup Nazi in the phone book. Like, I don't know where to find the soup Nazi. So they told me where to look and looking around and it like I don't know if I like did recon or like before it was open. I think I might have gone and it wasn't open yet. Like they had said it was going to be open and it was on this corner and there was no sign that said even soup kitchen
Mhm.
or whatever it was called. Not like much less soup Nazi. So I'm like, it doesn't exist. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, this isn't a thing. And then finally I figured out, okay, this is just what they're calling it because this man is insane and he has the best soup around. But so they gave me like lessons and it was very like I would have very like detailed notes like Jill wants tomato bisque with an apple and a bread and no croutons. And like it was like ordering Starbucks before you ordered Starbucks. Like he was the original Starbucks order. And so I would have like 12 orders. I would be like ordering for everybody. So I
Mhm.
got some practice and, he started to like me. I even got like some extra candies here and there. Like he would throw in those chocolate candies. I'm like, oh my God, I got 2 oranges today. What? Like, I did good, like, and it was like you would have to be like a robot. Order, move, 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 like hand over the money, grab the food, out. Like, you'd be like, okay, and then you would be okay, and you would get maybe an extra candy, or if you did real good, you might get 2 extra oranges sometimes. But so
Was the name justified? Was he as strict and whatnot as obviously with sitcoms you have hyperbole and things like that, but like
it
was it
is
justified?
it is spot on. So there was all this chit chatter, like, oh my God, it's tonight. It's tonight. What's tonight? The Soup Nazi episode on Seinfeld is tonight. Spike's Soup Nazi. I'm like, what? Yeah, he wrote like a script about the soup and it's coming on tonight. And I have to go order soup from him, knowing he's going to be on TV that night. And I'm like dying to say something. I'm like getting my 27 soups all with everything correct lined up all practiced like I'm repeating the order in my head so I get it all correct and then like at the end give him the correct amount of change everything totally perfect and then I'm like have a good night. I was so excited. And then I watched it that night and I was like, I have never seen a more spot on like impersonation because it was an impersonation that was 100% correct. 100%. No soup for you. I mean,
That's fantastic. I
yeah, it was wild, except it was more crowded and sweatier inside there.
Well, it's funny. It's one of those things where one of the things that I think is similar now to what it was even back then is the idea of, it's I'm in bed or it's just before bed and I'm going to channel surf a little bit and I'm just going to see what's out there and see what's on. That still exists, especially for our generation. It probably doesn't for the kids. The kids are probably in VR or something like that. But
Mhm.
but for us, I still see it. And Seinfeld, of course, is one of those shows that is like you've got all these networks that late night they
Mhm.
have Seinfeld reruns going.
Yeah,
And you think about that
constantly.
Soup Nazi episode every single time. So Seinfeld's one of those shows where if it's the right episode, I will not flip. I'll continue to watch it, even though I've got access to the whole series right now. It's just
Right,
one of those
yeah.
things. It's comfort
You
food for
stop.
my
Yes.
eyes and my soul.
And Friends, yeah,
And oh, Friends,
100%
yes, both,
mindless. And you know
absolutely.
it well enough. It's like listening to almost like music,
Yeah,
visual
yeah.
music.
Muzak, yes. But the Soup Nazi episode, I mean, iconic, and the idea that you have this kind of special memory that's all wrapped up like a little present. Like if that show shows up, you have way more nostalgic value and memory
Yeah.
associated with that particular episode than a lot of us, and a lot of us really revere that episode. And yet you have
Yeah.
this really cool customized story about it. That's very, very neat.
I remember when I saw like his soup like in the grocery store. I think I took a picture of it and put it on Facebook. I was like, whoa, like I know that guy. It was so crazy, but I mean, his soup was great. It was worth it, you know? I mean, I don't know if it was worth it after it became famous because I didn't try to wait in a 3 hour line for soup, but I waited in a 45-minute line a lot.
It blew up his business, yeah, and
Yeah.
just very, very. That's very cool. And working with these writers, I mean, I can only imagine. Like, were you okay? Were you in there when they were? Because obviously there was a lot of compartmentalization. You know, there'd be assignments for the day. Everyone goes off to their offices and things like that. But then they kind of get back, and it sounds like the fun time might have been after the show. That when that sounds like it would have been the time where more action was happening. Is that accurate?
They that time was when they kind of kicked us out. So after the
Hmm.
show, when they would review everything and talk about what worked or whatever, and talk about everything for the next day, they had their little blue cards and all of that in the writers' room.
Yep.
Once they were set up for dinner, we went to Ye Old Triple Inn and ate French fries and drank beer.
Is this the
So
$1 beers? Is this is the intern's beer spot?
this is,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is how you gain a lot of weight in a short period of time on a French fry and beer diet. Yeah. But and we would all talk about our experiences and what we did that day. And we were it's like going to summer camp, you know, you were such your instant group of people doing something so exciting and we're all doing something a little bit different. And then it comes together for this thing that is a thing, you know, like that we had that exists forever that we had a hand in, which is what was a very exciting time.
I love how you talk
And
about the
we were
idea
all
of
so close.
well, yeah, and a lot of the interns have talked about that. Like we're gonna have a reunion show on here at some point. If somebody can figure out a way to herd the cats, apparently there's a couple of different group chats that are out there and whatnot.
So
And
happy arena.
I'm wearing of course wearing the whole episode, of course, of course. I've almost dug into the Skittles 3 times, but I've been too fascinated.
I still have more candy to
Oh
show
yeah,
you. So-
okay, you got more candy.
oh my gosh, so much more candy. Yeah.
Um,
Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Yeah, okay, but I want to get this point. Like, you bring up a really good point. Like, because there was kind of the interns bar, and it wasn't because it was a segregated thing. It was because the interns didn't have any money compared to everybody else. Everyone else goes to McGivney's, that sort of thing. Okay, that makes sense. But also, you as a group, and I don't know how many there would have been, maybe 9 or 10 of you at that time,
Ish,
probably
yeah.
something like that,
Hmm.
handful of you. I talked to Janice about it, and she said it was. I think she said it was like 8 or 9, and then it expanded out a
Seems like
little bit.
about eight, like eight,
Yeah, yeah,
nine,
yeah, yeah.
10.
It,
Yeah,
it, it,
small
ex-
amount.
it expanded over the years, but a little bit. But you're in this weird spot because all y'all are helping this machine do its thing, not paid anything for it, that kind of thing. But at the same time, you're all kind of and you're all in different departments. So I can imagine it would have been kind of fascinating at the end of the day going there and
Yeah,
trading stories about things because you've all witnessed the same event from completely different vantage points. And
yeah.
that must have been a lot of fun as
It
well.
was. It was very cool. And it was, and with some of the like receptionists that had been interns that
Yep.
weren't quite making, so
Yep.
and they had a little more experience and Ye Old Triple Inn is directly across the street from the old Studio 54, which was like to me like what?
Yeah.
So like it just being there and like having this group of people who like we're from all over Michigan, Indiana,
Mhm.
like Arizona, Colorado, it's like all over with different experiences. And we're all kind of like, well, not everybody, but like when I got there, I was pretty terrified.
Mhm.
I moved right into the Barbizon Hotel for Women because one of my friends who is a model recommended it for me. So that was a wild experience. So my first place was the Barbizon Hotel for Women.
Okay, where is this place? And I've never heard any. This is never touched my radar at all. What is this place? This is where you ended up living while you were an intern there, or was it the whole time, or
Um,
just part of it?
oh no, that was only maybe I lived in four places during my internship.
Hmm.
But that was the very first place where I landed, where I had like, you'll be safe here. It's for women. Like, there's no men. You can go right there, go in. You have a safe place. It's cheap.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like a very old hotel,
In
and there
Midtown? Is
are,
it in Midtown Manhattan?
it was south,
Okay.
south of Midtown. I
So
don't
one
remember,
subway right away
maybe
kind
in
of
the
thing.
30s. I
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
remember
Okay. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was, and it's been there forever, and it's been a hotel forever. And I don't know if it has anything to do with like the Barbizon School of Modeling, but she was a model in New York City, and all the models used to stay there. So she recommended it, and there it was. I was trying to find my journal, but it's so packed away because I actually have drawings of like the women that I met there, because there were women that had been living there for 30 years, and like the bathrooms in the hall kind of situation. And
Wow.
it was very interesting, but there's no telephone or television or, in the bathrooms in the hall. And it was like, oh boy, I am very alone here. So,
But that's like, okay, I think about us Gen Xers, and you think about what you just described here, Andrea. That's an old school New York experience, is
yeah,
what that is.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
something romantic and nostalgic and all of these things, all these words kind of put together about that you're working for Letterman, you're paid nothing, and you're living at this place that there could be a movie, an old timey movie about it on TCN, like that's
yeah,
to me that's
100%.
really cool that you have that memory as well.
Well, then I moved into, after that. So I'm like, okay, I'm not staying here. And I looked at, because I'd gone to Parsons. I looked at the Parsons, board of available, people needing roommates or whatever.
Hmm.
And I met on there was someone who needed a roommate. The price was right. And this place was just south of Grand Central Station, and literally a lean-to between high rises. So it's, um, I don't even know how it could be legal,
This is
but
the
it's
first time,
essentially.
by the way, that the word lean to has been used on the Letterman podcast. So congratulations on
Oh,
that. You've got that
I hope
distinction.
there's like a ding,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a checkbox at the bottom. Yeah, so it was a place that was someone had built, like a one-story place. Yeah, I don't know how much of these stories you want, but I'm going to keep going.
No. I love it. I love it. Keep going.
Oh, I still have Ted Teddies in the other room. I had moved in with this woman who uh, was leaving immediately. I think she was going back home to Korea. And so I was going to be there, and she was going to live in the front room, and I was going to live in the back room.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this will work for now. And there was no furniture in the back room, and like burlap kind of flooring, like the carpet was like
Yeah.
industrial, and it
Yeah.
had a barrel light bulb with a string on it. And all I had was my teddy bear, my suitcase, and like a baby blanket. So it must have been the first night I was there. I paid the deposit, and it smelled very, very kimchi, like very kimchi, which is not a problem, but like, and like, you don't want to smell kimchi. You don't want to smell like kimchi
Not
all
when
the
you're
time.
walking through the halls of the Ed Sullivan Theater. No, absolutely.
Not all the time. I mean, once in a while, maybe, but not all the time. But I was sleeping on the floor using my teddy bear as a pillow.
Hmm.
And I've told this story to a lot of people, but I hear like literally this close. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? And I jump up and turn on the light, and I see the tail end of a rat the tail going into the furnace.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
was had just been this close to my head. And
Yeah.
so at that point I got a little upset, and the poor woman, she got my entire deposit, but then I ended up moving in with Sarah Ide for a short period of time.
Oh, that's cool. That's the
Yeah, and
rat
she
story is
was.
unfortunately also another unfortunate rite of passage New York story, you know.
But yeah, Sarah and I like had talked because they gave us a whole yellow list, which I still have and just uncovered, of all the interns in our class and their contact information. They encouraged us to reach out and make friends before we started.
Yep.
And she and I connected, I think while I was still at the Barbizon Hotel. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this place. And she was like, if you need me. And I'm like, I need you. And she was generous enough to come let me stay with her for maybe even a month. It was a while that she let me stay with her. And that was, we stayed at it was on Central Park South with a
Oh, wow.
doorman. Yeah,
Wow.
so that was an experience I'd not ever been privy to, and that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And
And what was
then
Sarah doing for the show at that point? Do you remember?
she was in the mailroom. She
She was in the
started
room.
in the mailroom,
Yep.
which is wild because she was there until the end of the show.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I haven't
she
had Sarah on here, by the way. Are you and Sarah still in communication?
via Facebook,
A little bit? Okay.
a little bit, not a lot.
That's another one I'd like to get on here. I'd like to get her and
Yeah,
and
I'd
and
love.
Bob Borden for that matter. I'd like to get them both on here. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
that would be amazing. Yeah, Sarah, she's good people, she was really great to me, and we were both so like freaked out and brand new, um and we were both having our own experiences, so like we were like monkeys clinging on to each other for a moment. But then I met Tony, and Tony introduced me to one of her friends who had an apartment on the Upper West Side.
Yep.
And so I ended up the most of the time I was there living in a really beautiful brownstone across the street from a fire department. Yeah, like between Columbus and Amsterdam.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I got very lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
I lived in the bedroom there, it's
Sure,
not
of
like,
course.
but yeah, this woman that I lived with that Tony introduced me to she was an actress. She was very actressy and a lot of fun. And the apartment we had was, I believe it was her boyfriend's apartment, but I was just telling someone recently, like she had real Picassos. Like he was an art dealer, and she had real Picassos, real
Wow.
Warhols. Like she had like it was his apartment that we were in. Um, and she was a Tanqueray girl. So she would be out every night doing the Tanqueray girl stuff at the bars, and we had this kick-ass apartment.
You've got some pretty awesome stories in those memory banks of yours. Like you've
I'm
got
pretty
some pretty
lucky.
amazing memories, memories that a lot of people would live vicariously through happily. Like you've got some pretty awesome experiences there, Andrea.
Pretty lucky. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was an amazing thing to be able to be a part of, and I don't know how I got so lucky. So I'm forever grateful.
Of course, and I can feel the gratefulness. I can totally feel it. Now, that being said, I've gotten to the point where I barely ask the question anymore from staffers if they had a Letterman encounter, because the vast majority, of course, the answer is no. And that's right. It's a lot of staff, hundreds of staff. It's compartmentalized of whatnot, and the star needs to be the star, focused on this, while also, there's a worldwide pants is there and all these other projects and
Mhm.
that sort of a thing. But I know the answer on this one, and not only that, it's an answer that kind of creates a little bit of precedence. Because before the show, one of the things that Dave loved to do, of course, was get himself energized, and there's all sorts of ways he would do it. The Hershey chocolates and the coffees and all that sort of stuff. But also physically, like we would see it on screen. Ladies and gentlemen, David Letterman. A man, now a man who blah 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 blah. David Letterman. He runs across the screen first, and then he comes out through. Dave liked to run around a lot. Um, and there was a rule that was created because of you. And when I found that out, I was like, okay, what? Really? Because this is like the thing of lore that people are always like, I got to know about this. I'm gonna
Oh,
again, just like the soup Nazi, I'm gonna just basically hand it off to you at that point.
yeah. Well, we were, being one of the writers interns, I think that we got a little bit more access than some of the other interns
Yes.
because I had to go through the green room. I had to go on stage sometimes and hand notes off, if there would be like, they would be upstairs watching on the closed circuit. And they would be like, you need to run this note down. And I'd be
Yep.
like, no,
And when you do write
so
it down, you're running it to the podium.
I went in through the green door
Yep.
onto the stage, giving it directly to Dave.
Okay.
Blue
There we
card.
go. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. And so like depending on the urgency, depending on what. But yeah, no, go in, depending on the urgency, they would tell me, I'd be like, and I don't know if they called down, but they would know, and I would come with the blue card and give it to him and get out of there, you know. And there was sometimes I was like, he would look at me and he'd be like, what are you wearing? I felt like, like,
Perhaps he smelled the kimchi.
perhaps he smelled the kimchi. Yeah, I don't know, but I remember a particular outfit. He was probably like, but but we got lucky enough that the bands would rehearse, and that was always like one of the things. One of the jobs I was jealous of was the booking the bands and getting to know the music. So I'm such a music lover, and so if there was a band that we wanted to see, we could go watch them rehearse, and we would pretty much let ourselves down there, and go through the back and down the elevator through the little hidden thing and sit in the back and watch them rehearse. They may or may not know that we're there. Um, and I don't, I, I don't quite remember if it was, I think it was Alanis Morissette or Hootie and the Blowfish. Um,
God
but
damn.
I have another Alanis Morissette story, which is funny. But
Canadian royalty, Alanis Morissette.
oh,
The queen of Canadian alt rock, Alanis Morissette.
and this was so poor Sarah had to listen to me listen to Alanis Morissette on repeat at this time. Poor Sarah. So I'm guessing it was Alanis Morissette because I was a fan, like sing it at the top of my lungs all day long, every day on repeat fan. Um, and so we all went down, and I was probably so enthralled, I didn't realize everybody else had already left to go back, So
Right.
I was like still watching, and I'm like, oh, everyone's gone. And so I was a little bit straggly, and I'm going back the way that we come through the catacombs of the Ed Sullivan Theater. And
Hmm.
am I allowed to talk about this?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
The
okay.
statute of limitations is long past. We're fine.
Okay, good. So I'm all by myself, and here comes Dave barreling through top speed. And he's coming at me this way, and didn't see him, and we almost collided. I had to jump out of the way, and we definitely like there he was not there were if I had slower reflexes, we might have both had some injury. It was a very
Yeah, because he would run
close
at tops. He
encounter.
would run through he would run like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was
He
running.
was
Yeah.
getting his energy up. He was literally taking his vibration up physically
Yes.
by running. And he wasn't,
Right.
David Letterman was a very athletic guy. We've had people
I
come on the
was
show and
not,
talk
and
about,
I didn't even know this happened.
yeah.
We didn't even know that. So I had, for him, like, I was completely unexpected to see him out of uh, his office area,
Mhm.
like he was very contained either in his office area or on the stage or in the writer's room. So when me being completely startled by David Letterman running at 30 miles an hour in my direction was something I will never, ever, ever forget. but he kept going.
Yep.
And then I went up and I was like, oh, something just happened. I might get in a little trouble. And it wasn't very much longer before I don't know if it was, I think it was Lori that
Yep.
actually called and asked if I was okay. And wanted to make sure I didn't need any medical attention or anything. And I was totally fine, totally okay. And then thereafter, no interns allowed in the catacombs. My
Keep the
fault.
hallways clear. But you got to see
Sorry.
Alanis.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So here's the story about Atlantis.
Please.
Are you ready for it? So Doug
Yes.
Mitchell. Where is Doug Mitchell? Anybody know where Doug Mitchell is? No. Do you know Doug Mitchell?
I don't. I don't know Doug.
He was the receptionist while I was there. So
Oh,
for the writer's floor.
okay.
And he went to Bowdoin. Very smart man. Very, very smart man. And we kept touch for a couple years after. But he hung with the interns a lot. And I
Yeah.
don't know where we lost touch. I don't know what happened to him.
Okay.
Um, what was I going with, Doug?
Doug Mitchell, Alanis Morissette.
Yes. So he was backstage, and this was the same time during their performance, so it was probably the same day. And he must have had to run some notes down, and he was backstage waiting. And oddly enough, he at the time, Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters, God rest his soul, was Alanis's drummer, and they went to high school together. So
Was
Taylor
Taylor
Hawkins,
Canadian?
no, he's from California. They grew up
Okay.
in
Okay.
Laguna
Okay.
Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So he and Doug grew up in Laguna Beach together and knew each other from high school and ended up not knowing they were going to see each other backstage at the Late Show and randomly being like, Doug, Taylor?
Man.
And
Yeah.
and I remember Doug saying he was like, good to see somebody else in the biz. How wild is that story?
That's so great.
I know
I
that
mean,
stuck with me. And I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. And Dave was a huge Foo Fighters fan. At that
absolutely.
moment, he was listening to Foo Fighters on 11 on repeat. And that's like where my love of the Foo Fighters came about.
Oh, I love hearing that. Yeah, I've had quite a few of the band on here, and every time, like Tom Bones Malone has been on this show, and when we bring up Taylor, he starts to tear up and get emotional about
Um,
that. Like the connection with some of these people and that show, cannot be understated. And the Foo Fighters is right near the very, very tippy top of that list. I mean, I think the Foo Fighters have done two or three top tens. Like they were
yeah,
just, never mind all of the appearances leading up to, of course, the very final moment of late show that we
yeah.
got to see, which is the montage set to live. Unbelievable piece unbelievable piece of video that thing is. The fact that the pictures themselves, but also curated to a live version of Everlong is just absolutely nuts. And Taylor, like, it's so funny how sometimes with a band, some members of the band are just subdued, and then some members of the band who are not the lead singer are a huge focal point of the band themselves. Like Lars from
Yeah,
Metallica is that way. Taylor was
yeah.
very much that way for the Foo Fighters. You know,
And
uh,
their friendship. I mean, what a beautiful story. Yeah, what a loss. What a loss.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What a wonderful story. Okay, because I'm a music guy too. I'm a big music guy.
Mhm.
And so many people have come on here talking about the feeds, watching the feed, of what's going on the stage all the time for rehearsals and things like that. But the musical rehearsals is one of those things where I'm in awe of some of the memories that some people have where they were able to see the bands, loose and figuring out what their set's going
Yeah,
to be. Were there any
yeah.
other ones that you saw that come to mind that were special to you?
Hmm. We were always so busy
Yeah.
with the writers until
Oh
the
yeah.
very end that unless it was somebody that I was really, really wanting to see, I was pretty busy until even until after the show had aired, because we had to be available they were making changes until the end and then through and then, so we didn't always have the luxury of doing that as the
Mhm.
writers interns. But usually if it was someone we wanted to see very much, we would figure it out with the
Right.
other intern or whatever. And I was a little hyper responsible maybe, or so I didn't take advantage of it as much as I maybe should have. But nothing really specific comes to mind, and I'm gonna have to think about it when I find my journal.
Oh
I will
yeah, I
probably
can't
be
wait to see the
like,
journal. Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably be like this and this and this and this and this. But yeah, I mean, our time with Bill Murray is something that I will never forget
Tell me
because
your time with Bill
that
Murray.
was amazing.
I want to hear this story.
He was there for a week. So that was, I mean, he was at the show for a whole week while I was there, and he knew everyone's name. Like, he knew my name. He knew every intern's name. He'd joke with us. We were pals, like, I'm like, Bill, like, Andrea. I'm like, Bill Murray just said my name, and he was just like, he had this excitement and energy and this openness about him. And they were all busy because they did a lot of, pre-recording and all of that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. But that was really exciting when he was there.
Did he hang out in the writers' room for a lot of it?
Not while we were there, maybe after hours, not while the
Yeah.
interns were there.
Yep.
But he would be in the green room when they were going to be doing pre-recording and we would have to bring stuff to him, or, and he would be in Dave's office and I would have to bring stuff up to Dave's office. So things like that, but it's not like he was like hanging out in the writer's room or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were previous encounters, and I'm talking back in the day, like long time ago, where Bill was known to spend a little bit of time in the writers' room, or with a few of the writers, and so I was just curious if that had translated over. You were there
Honestly.
right around the time, like so Dave's front office. You mentioned Lori Diamond. Casey was there when you were there.
Yeah, my hotel phone is ringing for some reason. I'm gonna go see if
Go
they need
take it.
me. I'll be
Go
right
take
back.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
Dogs trend very well on her. What's the name?
Kismet.
Kismet. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you gotta look at. She is half Muppet. Come here, kitty. She is. She is in training. Oh, hi. You good guy?
She looks full Muppet to me. Oh my
I
gosh.
know. Yeah, she's a little blurry. I guess I
Oh
got
no, she came
blur
out of the
on.
blur a couple of times.
Okay,
She goes in and out. She's
I don't know what
oh.
settings these are, but she good girl. You
How
good
old is
girl, kitty?
Kismet?
She is. Oh, she's 14 months. She's 14 months and she's upside down now. You gotta sit up.
um,
Sit.
Andrea, one of the things that seems to be just really consistent from the people who were interns at the show and talking to them now these years later, so many of them have said, first off, the gratefulness. I can feel the gratefulness from you right now. Like I can feel how grateful you are that you have this experience. But they talk about how it did shape them, and it's one of the greatest, greatest kind of times of their lives and whatnot. It's clear you feel that way. You
It
still have a lot of
was
pride that you got to do this.
yeah, it's one of those things that has given me entree to a lot of when I came back looking for. I was lucky. I at first I interviewed a lot for television and I ended up on radio
Hmm.
and in Phoenix and worked in radio for quite some time and every and advertising, and it's one of those things that everybody wants to know about.
Yeah.
So they find out that you had this experience and they want to know all about it, and it's both Dave and Stephen Colbert like changed changed the a lot of people's views on a lot of things and informed a lot of people about a lot of things. And late night is a cornerstone of broadcasting. And I am privileged and grateful to have been a part of something that is a foundation of who I am as a human, because I am a 70s baby that was raised on television.
Yep. Me too. And late night has this special place in my heart. And one of the ways that we connected, and it's been happening with me as you can imagine, this past couple of weeks, it's been happening a lot where these people that have been, you know, affected by this thing that is so important in our lives, late night television. And again, it isn't just, it does mean something. And
Hmm.
the idea that because the landscape and technology and all these different things are changing, late night television it's in danger. It really is, just from an economic standpoint and from a format standpoint, technologically, people's habits, that kind of a thing. And for people who are in our age group or feel this way that we do about it, it's extremely uncomfortable. And I don't,
Yeah.
you know, and you look at the time that you were there, late night was white hot because of Leno Letterman and the expansion of late night television. It expanded. 2009, 2010, the circus showed up again, and it became this thing with the Conan, Leno Tonight Show, and it became white hot again, and everybody was talking about it. And it looks like, and I don't know if it's going to be a final bang or not, or if it's just going to be something that saves the genre. You never know, but it looks like we're in a place where it's happening again. One of the ways I became aware of you was just you commenting on what's going on at CBS, and you are a part of that history. CBS didn't have a late night franchise when you and I were those kids growing up in the 70s. They didn't have it. Letterman and that crew, that company early on created that for CBS.
Yeah.
And now they've just announced they're ending the run, ending the late show. And
Yeah.
all sorts of people looking at it. We just had Robert Morton on. He's talking about going there. Yeah, there's no way that show was losing money for the network. Um, but here's people like you and I sitting here going, "Oh my God, this thing that we love so much that we almost like depend on." Like it's one of those things
Yeah.
where it's like just like the running water. It's like no. I need to know that late night television is doing its thing. How do you feel about the current status of what's going on out there?
Well, disgusted to be blunt. Um, honestly, it's a cornerstone of broadcasting. It's like the news. It's like the editorial section of the newspaper.
Yep.
You can choose how you consume media, where you consume media from, but freedom of speech is important, and having different opinions is what makes us America. And censorship at a grand scale like this is disgusting.
Certainly feels that way, doesn't it?
It does, and I have a lot of opinions about it. I have told you that I try to be apolitical.
Yeah.
I have not watched general broadcast news since our current president was elected, because I feel like it's manipulation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, I read my news and from reliable sources, and from sources from other countries, but from, sources that are, I don't watch the news at all because I'm a very visual person and tend to get distracted.
Yep.
Um, and then I get my news from comedy and from the comedians and people that I trust. And Stephen Colbert, we talked about trauma and loss. And and I have his episode of Anderson Cooper's All There Is,
Mm-hmm.
when I lost my stepmother, and I'm gonna cry now, um, changed the trajectory of my entire life. And it changed my relationship with grief and religion and faith in such a profound way. And I recognize Stephen Colbert as a hero and a man of God.
Yeah.
And the fact that somebody who clearly does not have the greater good on his radar
Hmm.
um, concerns me greatly
Hmm.
and makes me want to stand up for what I believe in.
And the idea that people could be inspired by what's going on. You know, we can look at it as profoundly and deeply as what we're talking about here. We can also bring it right back to the fact that, you know, it's funny you listen to Jon Stewart and you listen to Stephen Colbert and how profound their comedy is. It's so profound that people look at them like they are like a professional pundit when they would quickly point out, hey, no, we're trying to entertain. We're trying to make fun of. We're going to make fun
Right,
of
right,
whoever, whatever.
right.
But
This
it's
is
making us
satire.
think. The comedy is making us think. And to me, the best
Yeah,
comedy has always been comedy that makes you think. Monty Python used to make me think, you know?
yeah,
And I go to that. But then you look at inspiration. So we can go as deep as the well of inspiration will take us if we want to. Or we can stay near the surface and go, okay, when The Tonight Show and NBC kind of screwed Conan over, it led to a springboard that Conan could then go and do whatever he wanted to do, and he created this, you know,
right.
culture of his own. My hope is that Colbert, over this next 10 months, at the time of this recording, there's 10 months left in the Late Show, and how weird of a sentence is that to say? Um,
Uh,
you know, but my hope is that he will be able to springboard, use his 10 months. It'll be crazy, silly, and those of us who love this thing called late night will be able to just rejoice in all of the insanity as all the pieces on the players on the game board take their turn. And after this, Colbert will be able to springboard into something really, really cool, just a similar way to Conan, the way that he did as well. That's
I'm
the
sure
Canadian
he will.
optimist hope that I have out of this whole
Yeah.
thing.
And
It's sure going
that's
to be a
why
lot of
I'm
fun getting
happy
there,
to be
though.
moving to Canada. And that's why I'm happy to move to Canada. Yeah, no, I'm currently practicing my Canadian side and trying to focus on the positive because he's not going anywhere.
Maple syrup and cheese
And
curds, and you'll be just fine. That's all you need. Maple
oh,
syrup and cheese
that is,
curds, you'll be just
and
great.
then maybe a little whiskey.
And
And
oh, no, yeah. You need Canadian
but
whiskey too.
but no, he's not going anywhere. He's a strong person and he's got faith and morals
Yep,
and a huge following. And
absolutely.
he's beloved by people in his own industry. He's beloved by people. He was invited for an audience with the Pope. Like, this is a man who has a sense of humor,
Hmm.
is incredibly intelligent,
Hmm.
and cares.
Yeah.
Um, I want him to run for president. I'm just saying, got my vote, but I know he's going to land on his feet. He's, and I know that our country is going to be in a better situation soon.
Yeah. And for the
Well, our country, our other country.
hey, you know what? Yeah, no. You're my cousins, and I mean, you know, I'm a Canadian. My very favorite hockey team plays in Los Angeles, so you know, I'm a huge Kings fan. I'm a gigantic Kings fan. So
How does that happen?
Marcel Dion. It's a long story, but essentially, I was sitting in the you talk about Montreal. You know, Marcel Dion growing up. I was sitting in a lazy boy recliner with my father. Early on, my dad, these Edmonton Oilers with this guy Wayne Gretzky were going to take over the whole hockey world, and they were facing the Los Angeles Kings in a Stanley Cup playoff game, and they were losing 5-0 going into the third period, and in the third period, the LA Kings came back and they kept scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring. At
Oh,
that point,
wow.
the Great Western Forum at that point in Inglewood was on Manchester, and they call it the Miracle on Manchester. LA ends up winning the game 6-5 in overtime. During that part, my dad's just sitting there laughing and laughing. He's a Leafs fan, so he didn't like these young Oilers, and so he was looking, and he said to me, "Michael, you see number 16 there? That's Marcel Dion. He's the greatest Canadian hockey player to have never won a Stanley Cup. He is one of the greatest goal scorers in history, but he's been playing for the Los Angeles Kings." And he is making hockey, the game of hockey, which we love so much, grow and grow and grow. I'm like an 8-year-old kid sitting in his dad's lap watching hockey. My glue is very, very sticky. So I see that. Oh, okay, that's cool. Los Angeles,
Yeah.
there it is. I'm going to be a Kings fan.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
became a Kings fan. And so to this day, I'm a gigantic Los Angeles Kings fan. And
That's
so
awesome.
that's how it happened. It happened because of Marcel Dion. And then Wayne Gretzky came there a few years later, and I was the only happy Canadian. And the rest is history. So, yeah. But that being said, watching what's going on for my American brothers and sisters down there, and particularly like we're talking about how much of an impact being an intern inside that theater for you was, and how all these years later it still brings up that smile that it comes from within. I'm watching you, and you're just the light that's coming out of you, that brightness from within, all these years later. And I think about the couple hundred people that are working there right now, knowing that in 10 months life's going to change, whatever that looks like. And I can only imagine what they're going through, and some of the
Yeah.
scarcity and uncertainty and all that stuff. That sucks. But also, though, this main line of adrenaline right into their arms about
Yeah.
how can we go out with the
Can
biggest
you
bang that
blur
we can.
this
Yes,
out?
there it is right there. Yes, right. And you're
Yeah.
thinking about that. And so I, as somebody who is a passionate observer of this stuff, am very, very excited for the next 10 months. And I hope that all these people can land on all of their feet, not just Steven himself, but all these people. But
They will.
I'm glad that we're
They
talking
will.
about it. I'm glad we're talking about late night. I'm glad that it's in the news and it's becoming a thing again. And perhaps if the circus is going to come back to town one more time, it's going to be the greatest show we've ever seen. So, Andrea, I just can't thank you enough. And you're in transition. You got all this stuff going on right now and all this stuff. I just can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to come on here and share some
Thank you.
memories with me. When we do the intern reunion, we'll definitely make sure you're included in that, whatever that looks like. Was
I'll
there
bring
anything
candy.
else that you wanted to get out there before we close up this installment?
I don't think so. No, I do want to show you my bag of candy teeth
Show me. Oh, yes, 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 yes. We got to do that. We got to do the candy teeth.
because now that I know that there is such a thing as candy teeth, like, how can I not show them to you?
Yes, this is fun on multiple levels, including delicious ones.
Yeah, and I've been dying to see what they look like on.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. No, no, no.
So,
This is the way you clearly worked for the greatest body of broadcast work in history. You know how to finish a show. This is what we're doing right here.
it's good.
No, no,
Mm.
no. That's it, it's great. It's
Mm.
great. You got the gum. You got
Oh,
the gums
yeah,
perfectly.
I do? Okay.
The gums anyway. Yeah. You know.
Harder. A lot harder than I thought it would be. Mm. It's going look good as that like
It's called candy teeth. What kind of an experience did we think it was going to be? I mean, my gosh. Are they yummy?
They are. They're
Okay,
really
that's good.
delicious.
Marshmallowy?
No, I actually gave some to the kids this morning at breakfast at the
Uh-huh.
hotel.
Uh-huh.
Don't tell their parents.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and we decided they were strawberries and cream.
Oh, there we go. Oh, well.
Mhm.
I mean, grand slam home run.
Mhm.
Andrea, you are delightful. Thank you so much for this. This is a lot of fun. And yes, certainly if I can connect you with some of the old intern friends and things like that, let's do
Love
that.
that.
And because, I got a lot of them, like Dave Plummer's been on this show. Like I've had
I
him on
know.
already
I love me
and
some
whatnot.
Davy Plummer. Love that man.
Um,
Love him.
You're fantastic. Thank you so much. This is why we do the show. We love reminiscing. We love telling these old stories from back in the day. The all whatever back in the day means, and I mean it's generations of it now. I mean, gosh, it's the greatest body of broadcast work in history. This has been another episode of the Letterman Podcast with Mike Chisholm. Coincidentally, I am Mike Chisholm. Thank
Oh.
you, and good night.
Overcoat and underpants.